For traveling with a camera, what I found is that in terms of charging the batteries, it makes sense to charge them vertically. Not vertically, but horizontally. So let me explain. If you have a charger like this, which is a USB charger, you could also have the original charger, but then you need a proper power socket, which many people don't have on the road. So if you charge them like this, then the problem is that they might wobble like this. If you then charge them in the bag, and the bag is in your rucksack, then there might be a connection issue. So if you're relying on the one additional battery you have charging while you use the other one, and then you find out that eventually the other one has not charged, then you have a problem, because you cannot continue to shoot, obviously. Now, if you have at least two charging, then the risk of basically failing is already reduced by 50%, you could say. Now, in addition, if I have a charger like this, what I found that usually there are no connection issues. So there could be two different connection issues. The first one is the contact between the battery as well as the device itself. So if I click this in like this, then this is properly secured. So I can have multiple impacts on this and it is not falling out. This charger is also showing me the current charging load. Now, the second issue would be the connection to the power. So usually what I have is a 10,000 milliamp power bank, which I then attach to the back of this device. The power bank is usually in my rucksack, which I also use for other things apart from my camera. And so I connect it then with this built-in cable, which is quite useful because this means that there can be less of a connection issue with this compared to having it to plug it in. And because I also have multiple cables with micro USB, I often use also micro USB to USB-C adapters, even though here I could potentially charge both, which is quite an advantage of this charger in particular, which is also one of the reasons I got this charger. So if you then have something like this and you then have a cable connected and then the cable goes around the corner, then there might already be a connection lost. So if you have cables and they are also adapters and then you have them for 2 or 3 years, what I usually found is that then on the road, especially if there is a little bit of strain on the cable, they begin to fail eventually. And so this was a huge issue with my 70D. I went on 2 Europe trips and I had my 70D with me to basically take lots of pictures, and I constantly had this issue of the battery is not properly charged because I had a vertical charger. In addition, the charger had no cable attached to it, so I would have to constantly charge like this. Now this charger in here also has an additional advantage, which is that you can also use the LPE12 batteries in this case to then power this USB port, which you could also use potentially then to charge up your phone or also even your notebook in case your notebook takes in case your notebook takes a power output that is that low. I think my Spectra 17 charges beginning from 30 watts, but only if it is turned off.